Well, the weekend's over. We had two amazing events. One by GCW, but the one we've been expecting the most, I have to say, is AEW Revolution. So, let's review, talk, discuss about it on this episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up. 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 Get up, get up.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that it's pro wrestling from AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, matches, wrestlers, and championships. I'm your host, J Rod here. So let's begin with GCW's Take Care. But instead of care with the C, they put care with the K. Now, don't ask me why. But it had pretty interesting storylines and matches that they had. The first match is called a nope rope uh, barbed wire match. This one was between Jimmy Lloyd and G Raver. Now, these two guys were once close friends, but on the previous event, G Raven actually set Jimmy Lloyd on fire. So basically, there's been a constant feud between the two, but it was a very interesting match where they decided to replace the rope with barbed wire. Now, you would have assumed, okay, the last previous event that the previous events that these guys faced off, G Raver won when he forced Jimmy Lloyd to quit. But it appears like G Raver continues that he wants to punish Jimmy Lloyd even more further. But the real question is, can Jimmy Lloyd survive it? Well, the answer to that, he did. He survived the match against G Raver, so he won it. But the real other question that many would say, would this be the end of those two or will it continue? That is something I cannot speak about, but I can tell you a part of me tells me it could continue. It's like 100-year war type of thing. Next match we have Charles Manson versus Mance Warner. Now, Charles Manson shows up, I think he's trying to, how to say, because if you guys know this, I did mention the first match was a no rope barbed wire match. Now, you know how long it takes to set up the ring ropes? It takes a while. So he comes out giving this promo, trying to kill the time as much as possible. But luckily, once they finished, they just immediately jumped in with the match between Charles Manson and Mance Warner. And Mance Warner, he drinks beer, all that other stuff. And you can guess, if you're a Mance Warner fan, like myself, he will come on top. And that's exactly what happened. He came on top on this match. Next match, we have Braden Leet and Calvin Tankman. Now, this is one of those matches that I do like watching. Calvin Tankman, of course, they call him the heavyweight hustle. Really huge dude. But the match was so amazing because you can see Braden Lee. I don't know who this guy is, but he puts up a good fast pace to ensure he doesn't get in the clutches of a huge guy like Tankman. But however, it did not run that way. It kind of went into Tankman's favor, but he did show respect to Braden Lee, showing that he put a lot of effort and what a great match those guys win. Now, this next match was a build up on a story. I don't know if I was paying attention from the very beginning or not. As you know, the faction known as 440, an Ohio group, and of course, people will say F Ohio many times over. One of the geniuses on this one is Atticus Kogan. He wants to recruit Effie to join. He believes that all the people that he teamed up with in his life, they never made him the man that he is. And they're trying to get into his head that he should join 4-4, make them more like see the their version of the light. But of course, Effie at first declined, but it turned into a big, violent match where they were using a lot of the toys like the tube lights, everything else. But in the end, Acticus won. But however, it didn't end that way. The rest are 4-4, including the genius and leader of 440, Ricky Shane Page, shows up. I think in the way they were using like intimidation to force him to join 440. That's what they wanted because Ricky Shane Page believes that GCW has fallen. It's the same kind of method we've seen with the NWO. But instead of, like the NWO, how they did it, it was more intimidation, more like saying this is their way. But as soon as Effie puts on the shirt, he joins 440. And of course, Nada fans were not happy about it. But Acticus said he wants better competition, but however, he believes no one can stop what he can do because he is Ricky Shane Page, or RSP as we call him, the right hand. But we'll see what happens then. Next match, we have Alex Colon versus Nolan Edward. Now, this is another match where you did not expect that, okay, this kid, Nolan Edward, could step up in the same level as Alex Colon, who is a deathmatch wrestler who we've seen him do a lot of crazy, insane things. But his closest friend Schlock was, in fact, in commentary watching this. But it did show that Nolan actually did have a lot of balls to be in the same level as Alex Colon. But however, his effort was short when Colon won the match. But however, since Edwards now stepped up his little game in this, apparently Schlock said that he will be the next one to challenge him. And I don't think Nolan Edwards didn't expect that one whatsoever. Now, the next match is a tag team match with members from a group called YDNB, which means Dumb, Young, and Broke, versus Iron Beast. Now, I'm not too familiarized with the first team, but the Iron Beast, yes. Because I can tell you this with this match. Iron Beast is like one of those names that you say, oh, they could win easily. And it wasn't easy, but they just, how do I say this? Made sure that their opponents don't have a chance to continue. And that's what really happened during that time. Iron Beast won the match. Next match, we have Tony Deppen versus Ken Broadway. Now, another good match, but however, I wasn't too much hype on this one. But I'll tell you anyway who won. Tony Deppen. Next match, this is Jordan Oliver taking on AJ Gray. Another huge match. This was really good right from the start watching it, but I did not expect a whole lot. But as you know, Nico, who's not here with me right now, me and him talked about Jordan Oliver. He said Jordan Oliver's better off not without injustice, but I think the way I told him, look, I think in MLW he feels more. It's more like okay, he's part of a team, but outside of it, like outside of MLW, it doesn't matter which promotion he's in. He's probably a better wrestler as a singles competitor, and he. I'm not sure if he would agree with me on that, but he is a phenomenal wrestler. And of course, like any good wrestler like him, he came on top. Then we got Alley Cat taking on um, Levi Everett, who I like to call the Amish. And I wasn't hyped too much for this one, but I'll tell you anyway. It was Alley Cat who won. Now we get to the main event, which is for the GCW World Championship versus the Spring Break show that Joey Janela had made for years. Now, Spring Break 5 was about to. So, however, this is how it goes. If Joey Janela loses, he has to give up the rights to the names. But however, in this particular match, Shane Page will try to win with the help of 440. So it did not go exactly like that. He would do anything, try to ensure he win, but this time he tried to get Effie to take him out. But however, Effie was not. Basically, he tricked a 440. So I can guarantee you this is far from over. And of course, RSP's not happy. But the way it went down, the biggest shock was seeing Chris Dickinson turning on Joey Janela and losing the rights to Spring Break, allowing for Ricky Shane Taylor Page to win the match. But however, his nightmare has just begun. Out of nowhere, we just saw the return of the King. I'm not talking Minoru Suzuki. I'm talking about the King of Death Matches. This guy, he's been known, and I'm referring to Nick Cage. Now, this is the last person that RSP expected to see. But however, he does have a right to call a shot for the GCW World title. RSP right now could be feeling the pressure that he's not sure if he can be able to get rid of him. He's been trying to get rid of him for months. And now, let's see what happens. But during a little clip they throw in, RSP was giving a message to Nick Cage. But however, when the interview was over, unaware that the camera was still on, it appears that RSP was unhappy how things could have gone worse for him, realizing that he could have lost the title, but he blamed the majority of it to Acticus. Reason is, Acticus was the genius behind recruitment. So basically, it's his fault convincing RSP to have Effie join. Now, the way I would picture this in a story wise, Acticus will come back and get even with Effie for betraying 440 when he convinced him that he could do better. But we'll see where they're going to go. But if that happens, that would be the next storyline I would see. We would see a one-on-one between those two. So I think that's it right now with GCW. So I say let's move on to the real pay-per-view that we want to see, AEW Revolution. Okay, so we got AEW Revolution. Man, there were some great surprises that took place. But however, let's talk about it. Normally, I don't talk about the buy in because people talk about how boring it is. But not this one. No, 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 no. There was a match that was set up in the buy in. It was supposed to be Thunder Rosa and Rio taking on Britt Baker and Rebel. However, Britt Baker said that thanks to Nyla, Rebel got hurt. And she had a doctor's note. But she did indicate that she has a tag team partner. And to our surprise, and I'm sure you guys saw this too, it was Maki Ito. I did not expect that whatsoever. I did not. I was like happy. I'm sure many fans were happy too. When I found out about this, I was like, oh my God. But it was great to see her. I know she has talked about maybe one day coming to the States and appearing in AEW. She felt like, okay, like it hasn't hit her yet, knowing that her popularity has reached the States. But I'm assuming by the time she appeared, probably it did hit her. Knowing that, oh, good, her people like her. But the match was great itself. I mean, probably some fans would say, why couldn't this be part of the main card? Well, I don't think it was expecting. I think Probably we're not ready to see more of Maki Ito, but I'm sure maybe Tony Khan does have an interest in her. But the match was great, like I did like how Excalibur said that these women have faced off each other before and outside of AEW, like Tokyo Yoshi Pro or anywhere. But it's great that even though the antics of Maki Ito, that never changes. But however, the match ended where there was speculation: what if Rebel is not hurt? And she used the crutches on Thunder Rosa. Once again, Britt Baker with her hatred towards Thunder Rosa continues, allowing for Britt and Maki Ito to win the match. Now let's get to the main event, to the main card. We got the AEW World Tag Team titles on the line between the Inner Circle's MJF and Chris Jericho taking on the Young Bucks. Now, this was a really good match. Like, you expect, okay, Jericho could win the match with MJF becoming an AEW Tag Team title. Now, part of me was expecting maybe Sammy Guevara will come out and cost Jericho and MJF the tag team titles. But no, I think maybe that was just. I think maybe people expected that, or maybe that was just too obvious. But however, the way the match was overturned, some great spots they did. The way the match was overturned, we all know MJF has his lackey Warlow helping him out, but Jericho accidentally Judas effect Warlow. And of course, that's when they set him up for the Meltzer driver, allowing them to retain the titles. What a great match. But we did see later, when they were being interviewed with Alex Marvez, that certain changes will take place in the Inner Circle. They're going to have a war council this coming Wednesday. And I can't wait to see how this looks like. Now let's jump into the Casino Tag Team Royale, which is whoever wins this match will get a shot of the tag team titles. We had like tons of teams, like members of the Nightmare family, like the Natural Nightmares and the Gun Club. All three teams of the Dark Order were there. Private Party, SCU, uh, Jurassic Experience, Jurassic Express. The Butcher Blade. I can go on, but there was a moment where QT eliminated members of the Nightmare family, the Gun Club, and even Dustin was like, "What's wrong with you?" And he just eliminated himself. I can't will not wait to see what's gonna happen. I don't know what they're trying to do in this story wise, but I'm kind of curious. But let's get to the ending part, which is the most interesting part. Death Triangle were like the last team to be remaining strong because you had Phoenix and Pac still together, but you got one member from each team. You got Silver of the Dark Order, who teams up with Reynolds. You got Jungle Boy of the Jurassic Express. You don't know what to expect. Now, seeing Pac and Silver, that's a good moment. I would love to see those two face off one on one. And but the way it ended was great with when after they eliminated Silver and Pac, seeing Jungle Boy and Ray Phoenix, you could not expect a whole lot, but I like how it ended with Phoenix giving a kick to Jungle Boy and then giving him like a lariat out of the side of the throw him off the ring, and that kind of ended where Death Triangle gets a shot of the tag team titles. What a match! It was very interesting. I mean, we've seen many casino battle royales, but I have to say this is way more funner than that. Now we get to the AEW Women's Championship between challenger Ryo Mizunami and versus the champion Hikaru Shida. I like much like how Excalibur talked about the women in the buy-in. I did like how this one is with Excalibur mentioning a whole lot about the match. Like he did make some fair points about Shida. Shida is more disciplined. Ryo Mizunami is all about having a little fun. But there's like the whole thing like that's gonna cost you. But there was a moment where Sheeta kind of blindsided Rio, allowing herself to win the match when she gave her the knee. It was a great moment because I think the idea is okay, you got Sheeta, who's a well disciplined wrestler, and then you got Rio, who's all about having fun. That kind of sets up a good scenario for the story wise. But however, as soon as the match was over, Nyla Rose comes out and attacks Rio Mizunami. Keep in mind, Rio Mizunami was the one who beat her in the finals to have a shot at the title before Revolution. And then here comes Britt Baker, Rebel, and Maki Ito. As you know, Britt Baker kind of feels like she's a role model. I don't know if she thinks she deserves a title shot. But however, here comes Thunder Rosa to save the day. And then later, what set up for this coming Wednesday, we're going to have a 6-woman tag team match. On one team, we got um, Britt Baker, Maki Ito, and Rebel teaming up, taking on Thunder Rosa, Sheeta, and Mizunami. This is going to be an interesting match. I can't wait to see it. Now, it's been announced once again for the third year already. The flagship show, Double or Nothing, is back. So I can't wait to see this. Once again, it will take place in May in Jacksonville. I mean, I know last year they were supposed to do it in Vegas, but this time they can't. But I can't wait to see this. Now let's jump into this match. Now I was a bit more, I wasn't hyped for this match, but however, I had a clear idea how it could have ended, but I don't know if you guys thought. It was Miro and Kip Sabian along with Penelope Ford taking on Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy. Now, I assumed in this match I would have loved to see Trent come out to get into the head of Miro. Now, Miro in this match kind of like did not want this. He did not want this match to begin with. It was Chuck who wanted it. Miro was saying that he could have been a better person than that. I mean, for Chuck, he would say, "What's a better person?" You know, this feud between them dates back months ago after Miro debuted, where they accidentally destroyed the arcade game that Miro gave to Kip Sabian as a gift. And now it's like it became more of a much bigger feud. But it did end it with Miro putting on the camel clutch on Chuck. But however, Penelope Ford got hurt thanks to Miro. But will this feud be over? I'm not sure, but all we can do is wait and see what happens. Now let's get to another interesting match, the big money match. This is where whoever wins will get the first quarter earnings of their opponent. We have Matt Hardy and what's his name? And Hangman Page. Now Page knew right from the start, ever since he aligned himself with Matt, that he was nothing but a lion sleazeball, however he wants to call him. He tricked them in the contract signing, all this and that. And then all of a sudden we have this match. Matt was trying to take out the dominant hand, where we know that Hangman does the buckshot lariat, but it it had little effect. But however, I knew right from the start that Private Party was going to be there. But unaware, here comes the Dark Order out of the blue. He decides to, how do I say this? They decide to help Matt Hardy. I mean, Hangman Page, and luckily he did when he applied the buckshot lariat on him, and I was like, whoa, that was amazing. And then they celebrated with a bunch of Handman Wisers for him. It's a great moment. Of course, he hugged the Dark Order. It's a great match. I think it was really a great storyline. Now let's go to the face of the Revolution ladder match. We had already 5 out of the 6 wrestlers mentioned. The 6th one was a bit of a mystery. So we have Max Caster, who just won his qualifying match last Wednesday, Lance Archer, Scorpio Sky, Penta, and Cody Rhodes. Now, the mystery uh, opponent for this one, I did not expect it, but I think many fans are happy. It's all ego, Ethan Page. I did not expect that. That was, I have to say, one of the biggest signings I've ever seen. I know he recently left Impact, but wow. But the match itself was so intense, insane. They used the ladder as a weapon. Even Penta super kicked Jake the Snake Roberts. I and even Penta's how do I say, did the little destroyer on Cody on the ladder. I'm like, oh my god, it's so nuts. You don't expect a whole lot on this particular match, but it was great. I didn't expect a whole lot, but wow. But however, the one who came out victorious is the one who reached for the sky himself, Scorpio Sky. So he gets a shot of the TNT Championship against Darby Allin. Now let's get to the one thing that's been mentioned that Paul White mentioned before. A signing, a mystery Hall of Fame worthy signing. Now, I didn't know who it was. People were speculating. I told people, stop speculating things. I mean, people thought it was Brock Lesnar, others thought CM Punk. But one of the names that was mentioned, I wasn't sure, but however, it came true. I'm talking about Christian Cage. So it's great. I know many fans feel like, okay, but I know fans will say, why would he sign? We all assume he would be a lifeline WWE person. But if you guys remember, he wasn't in WWE much of the time. He actually left and went to TNA, and then he went back. But I'm sure we'll get the scoop on why he chose to go to AEW. So can't wait to see that. Now let's get to the street fight between Team Taz's Ricky Starks, Brian Cage taking on Darby Allin and Sting. Man, I have to say this match, this cinematic match, is unbelievable. I did hear Darby Allin produce this, and he did state it that he was up all night and I tried to figure things out how to work. Now, keep in mind, I know many fans are saying Sting did state it. He wants to do a cinematic match after he left WWE. I know this is one of his plans, but man, I have to say it's totally amazing seeing Sting being in a match. I did like how Darby and Sting coexist like this, but of course, Team Taz always has a plan. Later on, we did see Hobbs and of course Hook to help them out, but so far it did not go their way. Of course, Taz acts like he thinks he's the victim or they're the true heroes, but no. Sting actually made sure that everybody's out of the way. But the biggest shock was when Darby Allin was off the second floor and did a coffin drop on Brian Cage. That was amazing. But Sting ended the match when he took out Ricky Starks with the Scorpion Death Drop. Another good match. I was like, wow, that was unbelievable. Really good. I've been a Sting fan since I was a kid, but wow. Now let's get to the main event. We have the exploding barbed wire death match for the AEW World Title. And of course, Brian looks like he's wearing a hazmat suit. I can't believe he was doing that. But the match was so intense, so insane. Don Callis like saying we got some traps set up for him. Like they think this is the one way it's gonna because they're more worried. They want to get rid of Moxley once and for all. They want him gone. But the like the first exploding came on to Moxley and then Kenny twice. Then a paradigm shift outside with the landmines. I'm like, it's so insane. But I think the biggest moment was when Kenny applied the One Wing Angel onto to Moxley. Moxley kicked the wires and boom, exploded right in his face. Now the match could have gone into John Moxley's way, but it didn't. There's always the Good Brothers giving the helping hand, and there wasn't a surprise. A barbed wire exploding baseball bat. And of course, it did allow for then once again he put Moxley in the One Wing Angel in on top of a chair, chair that's been set up, allowing himself to win. But however, they decided to handcuff Moxley to ensure that he's finished, that he's done. They want him done because they know no matter what's gonna happen, he needs to be gone. So they left him there. But out of the blue, here comes his one-time friend turned enemy, now becoming friend, Eddie Kingston. And then he blocked himself. Now, there was a botch in this one. There was a botch with the with the explosion. I don't think people like that. The ending kind of sucks. But however, I did like how Moxley kind of posted out saying Kenny Omega's one tough son of a bitch, but he can't build exploding for shit. It's like he's saying, you suck at building things. I don't know. I have to say the match was great, but the ending, not so great. I'm just don't know how to explain it. But like I said, the match was great, but ending sucked. And I have heard it from various people. Yes, it did suck. But we just gotta wait and see what happens this coming Wednesday on the fallout of AEW Revolution. So I'll see you guys in the next episode. I'm still gonna review New Japan's last two events of the New Japan Cup, and of course, add in another show from Japan from another Yoshi Pro Wrestling promotion. I have heard of them, but I never watched them. But I'll give you guys my thoughts on that, what I think of it. So I think that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. So I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.